Stories. Let's bring in Morris Reed, Democratic strategist and partner at Mercury, and Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union and founder of Cove Strategies. Matt, why talk about this right now, a month after the election?
Talk about what?
Exactly what Donald Trump is talking about right now, which is what happened on election night.
Because it's entertaining, it's enjoyable, it's honest. I mean, to have a presidential candidate say on election day, the winner didn't even think he was going to be the winner early in the day. I think, obviously, it's a great clip, and it's interesting. I mean, one of the things about Donald Trump is he tells you what he thinks.
Over to you on this here, Morris. You know, one of Trump's latest appointments, Ben Carson, as housing secretary, which one columnist slammed as a superficial embrace of diversity that helps insulate Trump from charges of racism and sexism. What do you think of that idea? Do you agree with it? Is Carson being used?
I don't think so, but it is a curious appointment. Here's a qualified and quite talented surgeon. You would have thought that his talent would have been better served at HHS or even creating a special role for him in the White House on health care. So I don't think that it smacks of racism. Here's a qualified person. I just think he could be better used in another place.
Also addressing that dynamic of ethnicity and race here, Matt, I would like to play a little bit more of what Trump said last night, and then I'll get your reaction.
We've forgotten about our inner cities, no longer. And the African-American community was great to us. They came through big league. And frankly, if they had any doubt, they didn't vote. And that was almost as good, because a lot of people didn't show up because they felt good about me. And the Hispanic community, great, great.
Matt, what's your thought on this? You know, is it helpful here? Is it good to do? You know, suggesting that because more African Americans did not vote, that contributed to his victory?
I mean, I would use different words, Richard. I want everyone to vote. I want to encourage every person to vote who's legally allowed to vote. And I think what Donald Trump was saying with these words is that there was no question there was a big drop-off in enthusiasm from Obama voters to Hillary Clinton. They could not transfer that enthusiasm with millennials, with African Americans, with Hispanics, with minority voters from Obama to Hillary Clinton. And obviously, for those of us who supported Donald Trump, we were pleased at the fact that for a variety of reasons, Donald Trump was more acceptable and did better.
Is Ben Carson then a head nod to that group that you're alluding to that voted in more numbers, at least percentage-wise, for Donald Trump?
I just don't think he's making these cabinet picks based on the demographic political realities. You could look at all kinds of ways in which you can demonstrate that. Look, here's another thing about his cabinet picks. You know, Chris Christie and Rudy Giuliani are not going to be in his cabinet. That's kind of shocking as well. He's really reaching outside and bringing in new people. And look, I'm going to root for their success because I think there's a lot of important issues facing the country.
Morris, your thought on this topic and this important part of this electorate. Go ahead.
Donald Trump said exactly what is felt, and that's exactly what happened. He did have a certain number of people to vote for him. The enthusiasm gap was across the board, not just African-American voters. Everyone, it was a sharp drop in participation because both candidates were not necessarily the most inspirational or aspirational. As to his appointments of the cabinet, this is a guy who wants people that understands the chain of command. That's why you see him appointing the military folks. You see him appointing CEOs. These are people that understand the chain of command because Donald Trump wants his lieutenants to go do the work and bring it up the chain of command where he can send out his tweets and take the success. So I'm not surprised with the appointments. I think it's consistent to who he is and how he wants to run his organization, just similar to the way he ran his business organization. It was a lot of lieutenants, but he was always the star.
Morris, as you've seen what he's done and what he's said so far, do you think that he's taking advantage, rather, of an opportunity to attract more African-American, more individuals of color to his side of the camp?
Well, you know, I have to be completely transparent here. I am obviously heartbroken that Hillary did not win, but I have been seeing some really interesting things and, frankly, some interesting opportunities for all Americans, businessmen, minorities, what have you. I'm one that I believe that you have to give the president the benefit of the doubt going through the door, unlike lots of Republicans did not do for Barack Obama going through the door. But I am going to take a wait-and-see approach. I think there are opportunities to have some wins here and participate in his winning narrative. We need to take a slow approach and give the guy an opportunity.
Good for you.
You're encouraging each other. There we go. This is good. This is the first time I've guests do that, but we appreciate that. Matt, encourage me here and answer this question as we look at another important topic for President-elect Trump, and that is who is going to take on that very important role of Secretary of State. Rudy Giuliani no longer in the running, evidently, saying that he's not. What are you hearing on the ground from your connections to the transition team in terms of how they're discussing the Secretary of State?
You know, Richard, it's really hard when you have a great, juicy piece of news from the transition. If you go on national TV and share it, you never get a second piece of news.
I won't tell anybody. I won't tell that. You're supposed to help me out.
Donald Trump says this at his rallies. Between you and me, what I hear is that they are, looking far and wide and really considering this, and I don't think they're that close to making a decision. And I say they. I think Donald Trump is making all these decisions. I don't think he is. I don't think the decision is imminent, and I think that's great. They've moved at such a mad rush on making these decisions, which is a smart thing to do. And it's okay on these key decisions to take your time. I'm also glad he's taking his time on the Department of Veterans Affairs. We don't talk about that a lot. That is a crucially important pick that Democrats and Republicans across the country, they've seen the way veterans have been treated in their health care services, and they really want this system fixed, and that's a key pick as well. So there are several really important decisions to come, including populating the White House staff, which is going to be perhaps the most important decisions yet to come.
Yeah, and reporting shows that they're a little bit behind there. Morris, quickly to you on this. Some Democrats, many Democrats, are maybe rooting for Mitt Romney at this moment and actually looking at themselves going, I can't believe I'm rooting for him.
Discussions I've had with him have been enlightening and interesting and engaging.
Sorry, Morris, go ahead.
That's okay. I think that it's funny that people are now rooting for Mitt Romney. I think what you see here is Donald Trump has a certain style and a certain flair that he wants in his cabinet. And when he said that Mitt Romney was ready for prime time, he meant that. He thought he looked the part, could be the part. But he also now understands that he's in a political environment and not everything that he wants, like he was when he's CEO, he gets because there are other constituencies that you need to take care of. But again, I think that the Secretary of State thing is usually the first out to shoot because it's so important. But, he can do the process anyway once he is the incoming commander-in-chief. And let's wait and see. I agree with my colleague that veteran affairs are very important because at the end of the day, he ran a campaign that spoke directly to veterans and that he was going to deliver for veterans. So as you guys know, all politics are local, and these are constituencies that he really needs to take care of.
Thank you to our mutually supportive guests today, Morris Reed, Matt Schlapp.